And hello YouTube, this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'm here in a brand new video for Gaming with GS, and today I want to talk about another gold trick here. This may overlap with another gold trick that I have done, but it is a topic that many of you have asked me to talk about, and I think I've done the events multiple times enough now to really give you my honest opinion, most accurate opinion. And this is a topic of which Heart of Thorns map is the most profitable, and how is it the most profitable, and how can you get tons and tons and tons of gold out of it. And we're going to talk about each of the maps, how I think some of them are really good for making gold, how I think some of them aren't that good for making gold. But before I jump into that topic, I do want to share with you something that has popped up quite recently actually. I didn't bother to mention it in a previous video because it was just an event timer, but this specific event timer that I found here is really cool. If you take a look right now, this page right here, this website, I'm gonna leave a link in the description here. It tells you what time the day, what time the night, what time dusk and dawn will be. It tells you a timer for all the world bosses that you can check mark. It tells you the timer for each of the Heart of Thorns maps. It tells you a timer for Dry Top, and also for the Mad King if Halloween time is around. This is a really neat timer, and for me specifically it's really good because sometimes I don't want to be recording in nighttime, so it actually comes very in handy for me when I want to record in daytime. I know when it's daytime. For a lot of the Traveler Tales videos, I don't like recording at nighttime sometimes, since I want to record in the nighttime, since I want to record in the daytime, and this is very useful for me. If you tend to do the World Boss Train, also very useful. You can just check mark which ones you've done, like so, and it gives a nice little handy little tool here. And of course, if you're gonna do any of the meta events in Heart of Thorns, well then the map is here. Well, the little timeline is here, and you'll know exactly when something is starting, when something is ending. So just thought I'd share that with you because it is really cool and it is very useful. I pretty much have this open now all the time when I'm playing Guild Wars 2, so link is in the description if you want to use it. Now in the background, you should see some footage of me playing a Verdant Brink and Auric Basin. And, well, that's because those two maps are sort of the best ways to make gold. Now, before everyone jumps at me saying, what, Verdant Brink? How? How is Verdant Brink a good way to go make gold? Now, before we jump into Verdant Brink and Auric Basin, well, I guess I'll touch on Verdant Brink real quick since that's the footage you're going to be seeing right now. Verdant Brink is a fairly decent way to make gold. However, it is a bit more time consuming because you need to actually play the game and do the events to buy to earn crowbars. Last time I checked, I don't think you can buy crowbars with the map currency. I'm pretty sure you can't unless they added that recently. Then I guess it's good, but last time I checked, you couldn't buy crowbars. You actually had to do events in Verdant Brink. That's one of the downsides. In fact, let me just wiki it real quick to be sure. Exactly, you cannot buy crowbars. You literally have to earn them from events in Verdant Brink. So that's one of the downsides. However, if you have a lot of these packed crowbars, it's really good. You can roam around in Verdant Brink and you'll see little blue dots on your screen. You can see it through trees, you can see it through the floor, you can see it through obstructions. If you get close enough to these cargo pieces in the floor, you can actually open these with your crowbar and you can get a lot of loot out of it. If you just run around the map constantly doing that, looking for blue little dots on your map, on your screen, you can actually get a pretty good amount of loot just by running around with crowbars. However, that is if you have crowbars. So that's the good part about Verdant Brink. The event cycle and the nighttime bosses, to be quite frank with you, the event cycle is pretty long. And if you don't have a lot of time, it's probably not gonna give you as much loot as some of the other maps may. And the night bosses are really good. If you're ever gonna go do Verdant Brink, I would recommend doing it in the night bosses because there's several bosses you can do, and they do give you a lot of champion bags, and you do get a good substantial amount of loot because they're each their own individual event, so you can get a good amount of loot. However, to be very frank with you, Verdant Brink is probably my least favorite map, right along with Tangled Deaths, which is why I'm bringing Tangled Deaths up next in the discussion. Now, the problem with Tangled Deaths is that the map is just too confusing. I swear to you, every time I go into that map, there is barely anyone in it. It is possibly the least populated maps out of all the Heart of Thorns maps. I don't know if it's because people don't understand how the map works. Like, it's very confusing with the different layers, and it's very hard to traverse it. I don't know because people don't know how the meta event works. It's just it's not very popular whenever I go in there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I haven't gone there enough times. Maybe I really haven't, you know, gotten into it very much. But for me personally, whenever I walk into that map, there's not many people inside that map. And also the supply caches are also sort of like spread out a bit. I don't see them as easily as I do see the cargo airship things in Verdant Brink, or as I see the noxious pods in Dragon Stand, or as I see the exalted chests in Auric Basin. I don't see many of them there. And the fact that not many people are on the map, the event is just not very profitable. Now, the Chalk Garret is a nice, fun event. I love that event. It's very engaging. It's fun to do. There are lots of achievements to it. However, once again, when you actually beat that boss, comparing it to Auric Basin, there's really not that much loot at the end. There's probably like 5 or 6 or 7 supply caches you can open, and that's pretty much it. The loot you get from the boss is really good. But, you know, if you're comparing gold to time efficiency, then you're better off doing another map. Now, for Dragon Stand, a lot of people love doing this map. And I will tell you this, if you do the entire event, the entire 1 hour and 30 minutes, if you are there for that entire time, you will get a ton of loot. You will get lots and lots of loot. And now that ArenaNet has actually placed noxious pods across the map, it's even more beneficial for you to go there, because there are lots of things you can open, noxious pods to open, where you can get loot. And you will need crystallized ore, I think it's called, or crystalline ore, I forget. There's an ascended ore from that map that you will need for legendary crafting. You will need for certain ascended gear. So the map is valuable. People do go to that map, and a lot of people like doing it, because if you have an hour or 2 hours to spare, then you can definitely go into that map and you can get lots of rewards. But once again, you'll have to do all the events. Simply just doing the last event in Dragon Stand, I mean, you will get lots of rewards, but compared to other maps, once again, you just won't get a lot compared to the other maps. You'll actually have to be there and do all the events and follow a squad and do the entire map. You will reap in tons of rewards there. But Auric Basin, now this is the map that I love doing, and you're gonna say, oh yeah, because you get tons of chests at the end, right? And you don't really need to do the entire map because there's tons of chests at the end of the city, right? But there's more to it than that. Auric Basin, for one, is a really fun meta event to do. It's one of my favorite to do. I don't know why. The environment is just very appealing. The map is really easy to traverse. The meta is very easy to understand. There's always squads in there. It's one of the most populated maps. I never see an Auric Basin that's dead. When the meta event is up, there's always people doing it, and you can just jump into it right in the middle of it and just follow a tag, or just do one of the south, east, north, or west, and you will instantly get rewards just by completing events. Not only that, but there are exalted chests around the map as well now. So even if you're doing events and getting, rewards like that, you are going to be picking up exalted chests, which give you more loot. Now, you're wondering, well, GS, I do the exact same thing in Verdant Brink. I did the exact same thing in Tangled Deaths. I walk around, pick up supply caches. I do the events. I get, bags and loot bags from completing events. What's the difference? The difference is that the final event is epic. The Octavine event, if you complete that event, not only do you get the loot from the boss, but you unlock under the city of Tarir tons of chests, and you don't need to do the entire event. You can literally come in the last second. You don't even need to do the Octavine event. You can come to the map after the Octavine event is complete, and you can reap all the chests at the bottom of the city. You literally need to do nothing, and you could just go down underneath the city, get all the chests, and get tons of loot. And now you're asking, well, I already do that. What's the difference? The difference is that now you can also, check this out. This has been something a lot of people have been doing lately. And on screen, you should see me doing that if the footage gets to that point. Maybe I'll edit it in so you can see how I'm doing it. You can map hop to another map. Say you go into LFG and you look for another Auric Basin map. Say you've already farmed all of the chests underneath the city, right? You can just jump into another map and farm all the chests again. So all those grand chests and all those great exalted chests that you just got, where you got black diamonds from, where you got tons of rare items from, you can literally just go to another map and do the exact same thing. And because that is so profitable, it's a good idea to do the events in Auric Basin so you get tons of Aurelium, because that is the currency you will need to buy the exalted keys. And the more map hopping you do, the more chests you open, the more keys you'll need, and the more keys you'll need, the more Aurelium you'll need, and the more Aurelium you'll need, well, the more events you need to do. So personally, in my opinion, Auric Basin is by far one of the most profitable maps to do. I've done all of these maps now at least well over 40-50 times now. And I cannot stress it enough. I am far more satisfied when I do Auric Basin than I do any of the other maps. Now, don't get me wrong, the other maps are fun to do. You still get rewarded from the other maps. But if we compare the amount of loot you get and the amount of time versus gold, the efficiency of that, Auric Basin comes out on top. Will it ever beat Silver Waste chest farming? Probably not. Does it come close to it? Probably so. I mean, if you think about it, Silver Waste chest farming, you can hop into a map and you can just follow a tag and constantly pick up chests. You literally don't need to do anything, and you can do this for hours on and on and on and on and on. There is no pause. For Auric Basin, you have to pause. You have to pause to basically wait for the meta event to complete. But it's probably the next best thing to Silver Waste, because Silver Waste, you can constantly for hours on end just farm chests. Well, Auric Basin, you can for hours on end every every hour and a half, I think it is, or is it every if I look at the timer here, yeah, it's like every hour and a half, or like maybe every hour, you can map hop to 2-3 different maps, rush through the underground city, and just get all these grand chests, all these great exalted chests, and all the regular exalted chests. And you get tons of rares. Sometimes you'll get black diamonds, which sell for huge amounts. And the gold value from Auric Basin is just so great. So that's kind of my evaluation of it. I've done a ton of these events so many times. A lot of you have asked me to make this video, so there's my opinion, and hopefully, hopefully you'll see the value in Auric Basin and run it a bit more. Now, hopefully, Arena also doesn't take out that. I wouldn't call it an exploit, because I don't know what to call it. It's a technique. It's a method. I mean, we're not really breaking the game by jumping to another map and, taking the loot from the other cities. I mean, hopefully they don't patch that, because if they do patch that, then, maybe Auric Basin it'll definitely lose some of its value. But it will still be among the top ways to make gold out of the Heart of Thorns maps, because you can literally just come at the very end of the Octavine event and you can still reap all the rewards from underneath the city. That's sort of my opinion on it. If you have not seen my video on how to complete Auric Basin, if you are new to Auric Basin, if you don't know what to do in the map, I have made a dedicated video to that specific map. You can check it out. There should be a link in the description, a card, and an annotation on screen right now, and that should help you get started if you haven't done the map before. So that's kind of all I wanted to cover for this video. I just wanted to break down the maps and sort of give you my opinion on which one is the most profitable. And it's just amazing. I map hop to like 3 different maps today, and your inventory fills up so quickly in Auric Basin. I highly recommend you to invest in buying more inventory bags. You can unlock inventory bags through gems, and you can unlock gems through gold or through real money. Highly recommend you to go and invest in that, because you will need all the space you can get in Auric Basin. Your bags will fill up so quickly. Build yourself a Mystic salvaging kit, get some bags, and prepare to salvage like crazy. And it's a great way to farm for some luck too, because you do get tons of luck off of all the greens and blues you get. So hopefully you enjoyed the video, hopefully you found it helpful, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and subscribe. Plenty of other gold guides on the channel, plenty of other Guild Wars 2 content on the channel too, plenty more to come. And if you enjoyed this video, if you liked it, if you learned something, you can always donate $1 to my Patreon page. Anything as low as that is always helpful and very much appreciated. All you gotta do is click the card in the top right corner of the screen, and it'll bring you to the page. I also have a tutorials channel, a vlogging channel, advice channel, and a music channel. If you want to check that out, links in the description, as well as on the end card. And with that, thank you so much for watching, as always. And this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'll be back sooner than you think. Don't go anywhere.